Amidst a downpour, a man's hand lies on the ground. The scene warps, and a girl with a sword through her chest appears. "If you want to kill me," she says, staring at him. She twists the sword in his chest. He coughs up blood, and with his hand covered in red, he thinks, "You're so beautiful and precious that I can't have you." He brings his bloody hand to the girl's face. She stands up, and as he lies there, he thinks, "Damn it." We see a game window with the message "Marriage cancellation request" written. Decent's death required. Thank God. The guy in front of the computer screen says, "Finally. Took forever to fix this bug. Finally got that error fixed in the marriage cancellation storyline. My name is Kim Woojin. Almost free from these endless overtime hours," he says, stretching. "I'm a game developer at RW, a console game development studio in South Korea. Known as a wasteland for console games, RW came out of nowhere and released hit games one after another. It quickly became a studio that everyone in the world knew. The game I'm testing now is a AAA title that RW has put all its investments and profits into so far. In other words, we're screwed if the game doesn't do well." He checks the playtime, 11 hours. The essence of this game is that the difficulty and story change depending on the player's choices. Maybe that's why, even though it's a single-player game, the highly advanced AI and named characters are getting so much attention from the community. Plus, there are dozens of classes like Knight, Mage, Explorer, Demon Hunter, Noble, King, and more. Thanks to the wide variety of classes, players have the freedom to be whatever they want in the game. In other words, if this game does well, we'll be swimming in money. But at the same time, if this game flops, the studio will go down with it. Better check the character settings again. The reason I've been doing overtime for the past few months is this guy. The main character in the episode that's finally bug-free. Decent von Greyhan Yucklein's death. One of the game's mid-bosses and also a named villain. There were countless errors we had to fix in every possible route with this character. And finally, I managed to kill him without anything going wrong. The reason for his death in this route is being stabbed by the bride. Well, makes sense considering everything he's done. "Woojin, how's the testing going?" a girl asks, approaching him. This is the development team leader, Ino Era. She's also my ex-girlfriend. We were together for 7 years. We were happy the whole time and everything. I'm naturally lazy, but unlike me, she's a workaholic since birth. Her ambitions helped me become a better person. However, in the end, we broke up. I couldn't change, even with her efforts. I heard you were having trouble with some bugs. 6 months later, I heard she had someone new. Guess things are going well with the new guy. Woojin comments out of nowhere. Rumors run fast in this company. Well, I guess things are going well, yeah? Not exactly great to hear that from her. I hope you marry him then. Stop being sarcastic and focus on the bugs. Oh, and you have to make more changes. Some things changed at the end of the story again. Every time. Are you sure he's just a mid-boss? He seems very killable. Well, that's the charm of both the game and Decent. The further the scenario progresses, the stronger he gets. The game's difficulty depends on the player's choices in the end. I guess so. But did you know the model for this character was you? What? You didn't notice? You two are identical. I only met the artist like twice. That's why I'm going to kill him as soon as I find him in the game. What? Your personalities are similar too. His last words were, "You damn bitch. How alike are we?" Woojin thinks. Well, enough chit-chat. How's the game experience? The game itself is cool, but I don't like that the studio's fate is in its hands. You don't have to worry about that. It'll definitely do well. The gameplay trailer was a success. Isn't that your little boyfriend over there? Woojin asks, looking out the window. Look, he's waiting for you. It's already so late. What are you doing? Don't keep him waiting. Go to him. Yeah, I will. Good luck, Woojin. See you later. He stays in the office, testing the character. I'll test Decent again. Man, the artist went all out. Saying this guy is me? His attributes are a combination of prodigy and mediocre mage. When he was a kid, Decent was called a genius and put on a pedestal. But he was like any other mage, and because of his arrogance and noble background, he ended up with the worst personality. Elitism, obsessive-compulsive tendencies, competitiveness, noble etiquette, sensitivity, authority, pretense, composure, and even more. How can he even be considered human? Well, he's supposed to get stronger as the scenario progresses. But he's already surrounded by those who hate him. Can't we put that into another attribute or personality trait? Something that's not so visible? His model was supposedly made with me in mind, so let's see. Attribute, understanding. It's something similar to empathy. Have you become more empathetic than me? At least maybe I'll add this one since I'm already doing it, and maybe this one too. This is good. And this. In the end, I ended up adding all the ones that seemed good. But now that I'm done, I'm a little embarrassed. I better go back to the way it was originally before any problems happen. I'll just take a break. Suddenly, a notification pops up, startling Woojin. Jesus, that scared me. Who's sending me an email now? It's the writer. We see them exchanging messages. Woojin sends, yeah. Is there anything you want to change about the model? I can change it right now. The writer responds, No, I was just waiting to take a look. What? Woojin thinks. Pardon? What do you mean? You mean you want to see the finalized model? The writer responds again. Take a look out the window. The window? What could be out there? Looking, he notices something strange in the sky. Huh? What the hell is that? The sky is like there's a hole in it. Lightning strikes from the sky, and we see something sinister happening. Skulls appear, and hands with multiple arms and eyes pull someone somewhere. What the hell is this? We see a man kneeling. I am. Kid, don't forget. Always stay vigilant about him. Desun isn't a tame man. He may be quiet now, but he can do something at any moment. He's just hiding his talents right now. He's a villain. Suddenly, he starts hearing someone shouting. Get up, get up, get up now, Desun. Desun opens his eyes. How long are you going to sleep? Miss, please calm down. What do you call yourself as a person? I see. It's been a few days since I possessed this body, but it still feels like a dream. How long are you going to be confined because of a woman? Are you trying to embarrass your whole family? What? I'll leave the papers here. Hurry up and get moving if you don't want to be fired. After the day the weird sky appeared, I woke up in this strange body in a strange place. It's been a week since that happened. I'm in the world of the game I made. From the looks of it, the familiar scenery made me sure. And the worst character in this game, who can't escape death no matter what. A man destined to die. I became the villain Desun. It's been a week since I got here. We see Desun lying in his room in the Deculein mansion. At first, I thought it was all a dream, but after a while, the realistic feeling of life made me accept the truth. Is this some kind of afterlife for dying from lightning? Well, whatever. One thing I'm sure of, I literally became the villain of the game I was developing.
Desun von Grahan Jelin.
He's the mid-boss of the game. No matter which route you take, he's the root of all the problems, everyone's enemy, and has caused harm to countless characters. Why the hell did I have to end up as a villain? Another big problem is that I have no idea what part of the story I'm in right now. All I know is the total mana I possess. Even then, I don't know how fast it runs out. I can't prepare for something like this. I'm not kidding when I say that everyone, including me, tested the game hundreds of times during its development. This character has only survived once. He's nothing more than a villain created to die and serve his purpose as a mid-boss. This is the document they left here, he thinks, looking at the paper on the floor. On it is written, Professor Desun of Imperial University. Basic understanding of magic and ability in relation to mana. And she's von Grahan Deculein. The woman who left this pile of papers while I was sleeping is Desun's half-sister. Instead of Desun, she's the one acting as the head of the Deculein house, and she doesn't have a good relationship with Desun. And the woman Uriel talked about is probably Julia. I suppose something's already happening between him and his fiancée Julia. Take these documents, then. If you don't want to be fired from your fancy job as a professor, you better get up immediately, she said. Professor? The lecture is today. I should go. I've never given lectures before, but I need to do something to get more information. Most importantly, in front of him we see a window. Primary survival objective becomes necessary for game development. Secondary mission, lecture at the university. Shop coins, 0.5. The words floated above my face as soon as I woke up. Because of this and the AI, I feel like I need to start doing something. There are ways for Decent to die because of the AI. Anyway, these shop coins are pretty important, but what should I lecture about? A pretty annoying concern. But okay. This body possesses the understanding attribute. We see the attribute window. Unique grade. Description. The ability to understand anything. Can be activated by consuming mana. Before I became Decent, I gave him this ability so he could gain some empathy. Since it's a unique grade trait that only appears later in the game, it probably has some hidden effects. We see a huge hall, and Decent is wearing his clothes. These clothes and this bathroom seem strange, but I'm wearing them so naturally. It's as if I've lived as Decent my whole life. Normally, I'd feel weird wearing clothes like these, but now they seem elegant and bring me comfort. These are other traits of his. Intimidation, dignity, and aesthetic sense. It's as if it's telling me that this body now belongs to me. I don't even feel like saying anything that could be considered rude. The formality that Kim Woo-jin once found rigid now seems natural. Despite the main purpose being to gather information, it's still my first lecture. It doesn't seem like anything other than normal. Just a noble, an upper member of society. After thinking that, he stops, startled. No way. Kim Woo-jin, a completely normal man from South Korea, objectively tall and handsome, and to top it off, some adjectives given to me by other people. A pathetic and lazy idiot. That's me. Yeah, I won't let myself get lost, so I won't let my guard down. Anyway, I've never been in such an expensive car before. Damn. Thinking about expensive cars reminded me of that time. That still pisses me off, he thinks. Remembering his ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend in the car, he notices a person next to him. Who's this? Ah, Professor, good afternoon. Here you go. The young man says, handing him a paper. He's Decent's assistant or maybe his secretary. Hey, you're a wizard? What? And I've been serving you for 3 years. Just kidding. This document, I thought it was lecture material, but it's just a script for me to follow. This contains all the information needed for the lecture from beginning to end. No way. Did he prepare this material himself? Considering how proud and untalented he is, this guy must have done it all. After thinking that, he says, Good. Good work. Pardon. Rest a bit before we arrive at our destination. Hearing this, even the driver is surprised. The master praised someone? Yes, yes, sir. Understood. How terrible I am. I feel nauseous just for praising another person. This is the real Decent. I felt that while we were leaving the mansion. It seems as if Decent's consciousness is invading mine. We've arrived, master. This is Decent's workplace, Imperial University. The location indicated on the letter was Hotel Hall. We see the hall full of students. They're talking. We'll finally get to hear Professor Decent's lecture. I heard he's a master of spell interpretations. Apparently, he was a prodigy when he was a kid. Attention, everyone. My name is Decent von Graham Yuckline. I will be conducting this class as a tenured professor of the Magic Tower of the university. Now, I will begin the lecture, he says, standing at his desk. Wow, he's handsome and he's smart too. How cool, 2 female students say. But one next to them crushes a paper in her hand. That's great. At least we met. The sworn enemy of my father. Decent, you damn bastard. The young woman thinks, staring at him. 3 years ago, my father took his own life after dedicating several years of his life researching spell interpretations. He took his own life from the shock of having his research stolen. The person who stole my father's research became publicly known as a genius of spell interpretation. That's right, I'm talking about that bastard Decent. But there was nothing we could do. I lost everything after my father's death. I was once a noble, but I lost not only our house but also our territory and all the possessions we had. In the end, I had nowhere to go. That's when I swore to myself, I'm going to get revenge on that bastard. After that day, I worked tirelessly day and night until I was finally accepted into Imperial University, where Decent taught. I know what no other student knows. His interpretation skills are fake, all stolen from my father. After bringing down my family, how can he be so indifferent? You're occupying the place that belonged to my father. I want to reveal your lies and kill you right now, but I need to hold back, so I need to prepare better for. Okay, here's the translated text, adjusted for clarity and naturalness in US English. Perfect revenge. Attention everyone, I'll be starting the class now. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm a veteran professor here at the Magic Tower. As a monarch rank mage capable of commanding the elements, I've been assigned as your special instructor. I'm sure you all know this already, but magic is largely divided into 3 properties and 9 categories. Properties are the origin, the foundation of magic, elements, the physical and material composition, and the intermediary. The categories are spiritual invocation, destruction, support, manipulation, malleability, enchantment, harmony, and finally, specialization, which is what a mage needs. While he's lecturing, he thinks, this is going better than I expected. Not only is this my first class, but I'm also teaching magical theory, a subject I'm not exactly familiar with. Despite reading a simple script I prepared beforehand, it seems like I have a perfect understanding of the content. The aura of intimidation and dignity draws everyone's attention, while elitism prevents me from getting nervous with all this attention. Instead of feeling pressured, it makes me feel naturally. These traits actually make a suitable educator. Mana has different forms of usage depending on which part of the body it's stored in. Normally, mages store mana in the brain, where it's easy to visualize spells. On the other hand, knights store their mana in the heart, the organ that sends energy to the whole body. And finally, the dantian is the most suitable mana reservoir for Todd, as it's where the connection between the internal and external is most intertwined. What I'm trying to say is simple. Hard work is important, but if your talent isn't suitable, careful choices and focus are also necessary. What appropriate advice for Deculein? Actually, Deculein wasn't such a talented character. As much as he possessed 3,375 mana, there's a character named with an initial mana of 30. To give the advice he most needs to follow is hilarious. Well, I guess that was all the script. That's all for today's class. One last thing, I'm worried about this last line. I need to read it. The real Deculein wouldn't have read it. Anyone have any questions? The students look at each other, and it seems like no one has any questions. Well, it seems like no one has any questions. If no one has any, then someone shouts, Professor Deculein, a mysterious spell was found in the mage's dormitory last night. Some people are saying it was the act of a demon. As a genius in spell interpretation, what do you think? You there? Are you even part of the Magic Tower? Excuse me? Why the question? If so, the right thing to do would be to announce your affiliation first. I won't answer questions from a child who lacks manners. Professor, I'm sorry, but I can't do anything. I just realized how much mana comprehension costs. 2005 out of 3,375. Used 1,300 mana to comprehend just a simple script. Who knows how much mana it will cost to comprehend a spell I've never seen before? The students in the room start to laugh. Her attempt to stand out failed. Wait a moment. The mages of the tower are refusing to interpret it, saying the rumor is false. But I believe you, Professor, can figure out the category of this spell. She casts a spell on the room. I am formally requesting the interpretation of this spell. Deculein. Deculein looks at it, and using comprehension we see his mana decrease. Some novices stayed in the dormitory to analyze this, but made no progress. If you could at least give us a hint. It's a magic barrier, huh? I don't even need to give you a hint. It's a magic barrier in the enchantment category. Someone tried to trap you in it. That's all. Side quest complete. Lectured at the university. Store currency plus 0.5. After this, we see the students in the university cafeteria. The girl eats while thinking, "What an idiot. I wanted to expose his fraudulent interpretation skills with an unknown spell. Instead, he called me rude just because I forgot to say my name. I thought I was going to die of embarrassment right then. He must have been caught off guard. While trying to stall for time, he called it an enchantment spell. Enchantment spells are extremely complicated, so they normally need an intermediary. How could it be an enchantment spell if there's no intermediary item? What I showed was an exact copy of the magic circle drawn in front of the dormitory doors. Although people were agitated by it at first, it ended up becoming research material for the novices. I knew he was a fraud. Another girl appears, running. Ephraim, the magic circle from yesterday. It worked when we reformulated the spell as a barrier. Huh?
I'm impressed.
We were too afraid of the professor to ask. Wait, you mean it really was a barrier? Yes, Professor Deculein is amazing. How did he know it was an enchantment spell without the intermediary? No way, that's impossible. Thanks, Ephraim. Let's send a report about this, and we'll put your name on it. Oh yes, thank you. She takes something out of her bag and starts to analyze it. On it we see written, Comprehension of Elemental Magic, Advanced Grade, 5 credits.
Professor Deculein von Graham-Yelin.
A subject given by Deculein this semester. You know what they say, if you know the enemy and yourself, you will never be defeated. I'll have to prepare myself mentally if I need to face that idiot every day. Just wait, Deculein. I'll expose you. Side quest completed. University lecture. Currency storage plus 0.5. While walking, he thinks, that could have gone very badly. The moment I looked at the spell, my comprehension was activated involuntarily. Just looking at the spell circles, with the lines intertwining with each other, was enough to drain all the remaining mana I had inside me. I wasn't even able to understand what kind of spell it was. Even if I had twice the mana I have now, I wouldn't be able to understand the principles of the spell. At least nothing went wrong. How long has that person been? White hair and bright eyes. I've seen that person many times through my monitor. How have you been, Julie Vona Frieden? She's Deculin's fiancée and a named character who will eventually become the pinnacle of knighthood. I wasn't expecting to see her here. I'm not sure. Let's just say I'm doing well. He says, Julie. Julie stares at him. You're doing well even after breaking the promise we made a week ago? What promise? I have no idea what she's talking about. I'd better just dodge this. I don't remember. So, if you'll excuse me. You're trying to run away like before again? Looks like she won't let me pass. It seems I forgot because of the fever I caught. Can you tell me what promise we made? We see Julie's memory. Promise me. If you are so confident in yourself and confess your pretenses and arrogance to everyone, then I will be with you even if this world crumbles. Remembering, she says, it seems I was wrong to trust you. You can go. He looks at her and says, then, if you'll excuse me, and starts walking. My engagement with Deculein is out of my convenience. Deculein, a talented mage, and Julie, a talented knight. With the union of these two, I'm sure there will only be benefits for both politics and bloodline. With the Yucklines and the Friedens, the noble bloodlines, there was no one to oppose this marriage. It's okay. This is for the good of the family, even if I don't love him. However, the two families realized that his talent never existed in the first place. Maybe he didn't want to recognize this, but he lied to the world by proclaiming himself a genius in spell analysis and became a professor. The fall of the prodigy, the youngest renowned professor of the Magic Tower, Deculein. There hasn't been any progress since the last research 3 years ago. After some incidents, he stopped presenting any achievement. Despite this, the Yuckline and the Friedens tried to stay quiet. I'm sure this was because the two families didn't want to be subjects of gossip. They didn't want their failure to be exposed to the public. But I couldn't forgive this situation. Eva was quiet with the marriage without affection, but I couldn't stand the lies. This is my conviction as a knight. That was all right, I'll do as you say. You agreed too. You? You won't keep your promise until the end, will you? Imperial University Magic Tower. The Imperial University is the best university in this game, and the Magic Tower is the best of all of them. You could say the equivalent to the Magic Department in Brazil is the Engineering Department at USP, and the Magic Tower is USP itself. Looks good, he thinks, observing the place. A wide field and a garden well laden with flowers. Reminds me of a campus my teammates and I spent countless nights together trying to create this atmosphere. It would be much more if I had experienced this campus in another person's body. As he walked, he noticed someone running after him. Suddenly, his assistant bumps into him. "Oh, I'm sorry. I was in a hurry to see my professor. This kid is the same as before. I thought it was an ambush." "Oh, it's you. Your name was Zorro, right?" "No, it's Alan. I must have been confused." "Oh, right. Who is Zorro?" We see him talking to Alan in his office. "So, that's why you were in a hurry to see me?" "Yes, Professor. This is the list of sponsors for this year's new mages. The Magic Tower is similar to a research lab in the real world, so money is needed for the development of magic. The professors of the Magic Tower sponsor the new mages they deem worthy. This name is shining in gold. I assume it's because of Deculein's traits. We see two traits. Asterisk rotten rich tycoon, rare a natural tycoon and an exceptional financier with an unparalleled intuition for lucrative things. The more information provided, the more accurate their intuition becomes. Asterisk sharp gaze, rare the ability to visually perceive intuition, attribute mana points, and similar elements. It's mainly used in conjunction with other traits rather than alone. That's definitely the combination of the rotten rich tycoon and sharp gaze. I assume the person behind this name will bring in a lot of money. There are a few others like this, but she's the brightest of them all, Efren Luna, the main heroine of this game. According to the developers responsible for modeling her, she lost her father to Deculein. However, why doesn't Efren Luna have any sponsors? He asks Alan.
Ah, Efren Luna.
I think everyone is too scared to endorse her. Everyone is worried about what I might do if they sponsor her. She's talented enough to come to the Magic Tower without having come to the Academy. However, this Efren Luna is Decen's enemy. Not Decen is her enemy. If I let things go as in the game, I'll meet the same end again. We see a kind of Villain's Destiny card. Villain's Destiny asterisk, the whole world calls for your death. However, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. In the game, Decen dies in countless ways. A sword in his heart, a vine on his head, poison in a wine cup, a terrorist bomb. Whatever the means, the fact that he dies won't be changed. If I want to live, I have to make different choices, a choice the original Deculein would never have made. With his pen, he writes something. Alan, deliver these and borrow some books that I'm going to take notes from now before going home. Okay. Goodbye, Professor. Standing alone in his office, he thinks, I need a lot of money if I want to survive. A lot of destined deaths can be overcome with money. Investing in a mage is the only way to get money. However, that's not enough. There are countless people in the world who have resentments towards me. They'll try to kill me whenever they get the chance. So, to survive, what I really need is the only way. I need to become strong. The best way to survive in this world is by becoming stronger. However, Decen's talents are only average. At this rate, I won't be able to react to future risks unless I prepare properly. I won't be able to survive the countless deaths that are coming. But there's one thing in my favor. My attributes. Decen can't control the 4 elements as he so boasts, but he definitely has potential in manipulating the elements of earth and fire, and the result of combining earth, fire, and metal leads to the formation of another attribute of Deculein called the Midas Touch. Midas Touch, unique, consumes all the user's mana to unlock the target's potential. Therefore, Decen's talent in manipulating metal allows me to control levitating blades controlled by ki. It sounds grand when they call it levitating blades controlled by ki, but it's just basic telekinesis. However, that's certainly not common in this world. Basic magic manipulation. What I lack in power can be compensated by manipulating the properties of metal. But to realize all this, first, I need to learn manipulation. I'm going to learn how to manipulate objects. Let's try. He stretches out his hand and places it over a book. A kind of blue mist starts to appear, and then we see a bright light and a kind of rune on his desk. After that, a kind of blue tornado appears in the place. The content and spells of basic telekinesis are entering directly into my mind. After the process is over, we see Decent tired, looking at a pen. Maybe now. The pen begins to float. There it is, he says. Now I've memorized the basics of telekinesis. I don't need a spell to conjure it. Experiencing something that only existed in games like this. As much as this is just the basics, if it's this much, I won't be able to reach the level I want, even with high-rank telekinesis. What should I do? He looks to the side and thinks, what if I put magic circles all over my body? In this world, magic circles get stronger the bigger they are. So, if I comprehend everything in my body using comprehension, not just my brain but my heart and my inner core, I'll put magic circles all over my body to strengthen my telekinesis. Of course, there's a chance my body will be overloaded or have side effects, but this body has the attribute called Iron Man, which allows it to withstand these side effects. This is only possible for me in this world. My current mana level is 800. It should be enough to get a taste. He picks up another book. Okay, here's the English translation of the text, adjusted for clarity and natural flow. The book is in my hands, and I see another glow through the veins of my body. Something is coursing through me. I feel a terrible pain, a pain beyond comparison. Like all the bones in my body are being broken and every muscle torn. Yet I won't falter. I won't make a sound. This is the elegance required to be a noble. Once the process is complete, we see him still standing behind his desk.
Mana? Sepertiga? P375.
I feel incredibly exhausted. I failed because I lacked mana, but I accomplished some of it. Now there's a magic circle on my shoulder. At this rate, it will take 2 weeks to cover my entire body. 1 month after the Decent seminar, first day of class, Magic Tower of the university. Students stand in front of a sign, talking. This is different from what the veterans said. All their classes are like this. On the sign, there's a message. I, the professor, wish to test your abilities. Bring any result from this area overflowing with elements. Who knew he'd just send us to study on our own? So we need to do something with the elements. That's why we're out here. Where's Professor Decent? What an irresponsible guy, sending us to study on our own on the first day. What an idiot. As Luna said this, another girl passes by her and bumps into her. Hey, who? As she turns around, she notices, that girl is Sylvia von Josephine Eilert. The two stare at each other, and Sylvia walks away. Huh? She didn't recognize me? After a moment, we see Luna using her magic to build what appears to be a stone castle. What happened? If I'm not mistaken, that girl must be from the Eland family. 10 years ago, the Elands, fearing my and my father's potential, used their troops to surround our mansion and threaten us. How could she not remember me? Suddenly, her little castle starts to crumble. Huh? What happened? It's as if the mana is being sucked somewhere. Looking to the side, she finds Sylvia making an infinitely larger castle. Hey, what are you doing? You realize you're taking everything I gathered. Are you deaf? What's this girl's problem? Why isn't she answering me? Wait. After thinking, Luna says, Hey, why are you pretending you don't know me? Miss Sylvia? That's what I thought. It's impossible you don't recognize me after messing with my family and forcing me to give up magic. Are you afraid I'll steal all your attention? I don't know you. Now you're looking down on me? I don't know you, but I know your father. What? That arrogant ex-noble. I heard he died. Look! One of the boys notices a green light and points to the two. We see Efren Luna ready to attack Sylvia. You! What did you say? Repeat that. I dare you to repeat that. She shouts. Sylvia uses a barrier to protect herself. In sequence, we see the explosion of magic. What happened? Is anyone hurt? We see Sylvia fallen on the ground, and Luna holding her by the hair. Let go. I told you to repeat it. You dare insult my father. I'll end you. What's that? A light, a kind of sphere, appears in the middle of the place. The students, worried, observe. That's a void. There where our manas collided before. It's sucking everything around. Hey, it's going to explode. Run. If that thing really explodes, metallic fragments will fly like bullets, and everyone here will die. The sphere begins to expand as it destroys the place. Luna, also using a barrier, begins to protect herself. What is this? It's quiet, but it stopped. Standing in front of the group, we see Deculein with objects flying around him. Huh? When did this guy get here? And why were the fragments frozen like that? He begins to manipulate them and send them into the sky. The moment Deculein used telekinesis, there were exclamations all around. As they were students learning magic, they couldn't help but feel the beauty of the magic. It was an enchanting magic that no one could avoid recognizing how dazzling it was. After this, he says, "Everyone, pay attention. We'll end today's class here. Everyone except those who caused this commotion should leave." Crap, I'm screwed. We see the interrogation room. "So, you arrived first, President?" "Professor Deculein, as expected, you two demonstrate commitment that serves as an example for all mages," says the professor of the Department of Spiritual Studies, Lam, accompanied by the professor of the Department of Support Studies, Helen. "Welcome, Professor Lam, Professor Helen. I apologize for summoning you so suddenly, but I appreciate you coming so quickly." "Right, Professor Deculein?" asks the president of the Magic Tower University, Adeline Seelen. "Well then, who was it who dared to lay hands on the young lady of the Eyelid family? From what I saw, it was a commoner who doesn't even attend the academy. That's why these nameless bastards. But I also heard that Professor Deculein managed to resolve things before they became a mess. I also heard, really impressive. He's flattering me to my face. All the professors here are good at navigating the world. So, the result of this disciplinary hearing is basically confirmed. The daughter of the influential Eyelid family, Sylvia, and the fallen noble, who is practically a commoner, Ephraim. It's obvious who they'll defend. So, I need to change the result of this disciplinary hearing. From before, I could already see the scarlet energy emanating from Ephraim. It's only visible to me since I have sharpened vision, and it shows that the villain's destiny has manifested. If I can't change the outcome, my death approaches. The disciplinary hearing between the novice mages Ephraim and Sylvia will begin. "You! How dare you cause a conflict within the school? Students could have been injured if it weren't for Professor Deculein. Why did you start this fight?" I can't say. That bastard must be watching from somewhere. He's the reason I can't say anything. I heard your father died. Sylvia belittled my father and harassed me in a subtle way, but I can't say that in front of that guy. What kind of joke is this? Some kind of inferiority complex of yours? You should have remembered the difference in positions between you and Sylvia but ignored that difference. So, Sylvia, it's your turn to speak. During the class, I accidentally destroyed her work, which led to an argument. What? So Sylvia didn't do it on purpose? Even so, Ephraim caused all that mess. How dare a nameless commoner? Do you have anger management problems? President, we should expel her. We can't let such violent conduct pass. It's cold, having to listen to all kinds of insults in a mere disciplinary hearing, and all the scolding is for me. I couldn't give any excuses either. There's also no one who will protect me. Everything is so cold. Deculein. This is all that guy's fault. So it seems our opinions have been organized. Professor Deculein, as someone who was present, I would like to hear your opinion before we reach a conclusion. I, Deculein, ask you, as head of the professors of this tower, member of the disciplinary committee, do you think she had no fault in this incident, Sylvia von Josephine Eyelid? What? I will ask again. Do you really think she had no fault in this incident? What? What a twist. What is he saying, Professor? You definitely could have avoided this incident, but you didn't. Or perhaps your skills, which everyone praises so much, weren't enough. Hearing this, Sylvia is shocked and begins to respond, I'm very sorry. To be honest, I didn't block her attack because I wanted her to get into more trouble. What? Why isn't he asking me but Sylvia? Regardless, the fault is clearly mine, but even so, Professor Deason. The fault isn't of the defender, the fault is of who attacked. If you really care about the context, then the fault is mine for having been in my class, Professor Relim. You want me to take the blame? Of course not. I just think it was unpleasant. He's refuting the professor who was next to Sylvia. Why is he going so far to defend me? Enough. Children need to fight to improve. These children have just become rookies, so instead of discussing who is to blame, let's just let this situation pass. No disciplinary action will be taken. You two can go. I was prepared for expulsion. The Deason I know definitely would have expelled me. So why? As expected of Professor Deason, you have an incredible way of analyzing the effects. It's all for the students. As he was leaving the place, he hears the girl. Looking at her, Luna says, I have a question. If you remember the last name Luna, and if you know my father, and if you know that he suffered his whole life under you before taking his own life, I want to ask you one thing, Deason. Deason looks at her and thinks, as expected, I need to know. Do you remember the Luna family and how my father died under your illusions? But let's say Deason remembers, and if he decides to annul the verdict to protect himself anyway, if he doesn't even remember my father, wouldn't that be even more painful? The girl thought. But Deason intervenes. You don't need to ask. Don't waste your potential on things of the past. After that, he leaves. The girl, standing alone in the middle of the room, thinks, I knew it. Deason knows me and my father. If that weren't the case, he would have no reason to help me. Deason must have felt some sense of responsibility and decided to help me. So, the reason he helped me before was out of pity. That's a relief. So he hasn't forgotten. And if he still remembers me, I am satisfied, at least for now. This is enough. Villain's destiny has overcome the variable of death. Store coins +2. In a car, we see a man taking Sylvia somewhere. On the way, he questions, this happened. Well, you don't need to worry about that child anymore, says Guilan von Ludwig Eilid, head of the Eilid family, spiritualist, 3rd rank. Sylvia reflects on the girl. 10 years ago, on the day of the aptitude test to enter the academy, I met her for the first time. Impossible. Both possess the talent to become archmages. But what the hell? 2 in our field. The girls, still children, stare at each other. But what the hell is going on? The pinnacle of the magic world, Eternals. Beings at a level that not even the Emperor can touch. Those who reach this level are called archmages and have their names engraved in the history of the continent. However, according to tradition, only 3 people can become archmages in an era, no matter what their types or specialties are. This is an immutable rule of mages. At that time, besides the seat of Dem Muron, 2 were vacant. However, one of them would practically be designated for Adeline, the president of the Magic Tower. In other words, I, the heiress of the Eilid family, and Ephraim, whose family was from the collateral branch of ours, should compete for the remaining seat. I understood. Even if my father didn't say it explicitly, give up on your daughter's entrance to the Kagan Luna Academy. That day, I was aware of the real reason why the Eilads humiliated the Luna family. It was all for my sake. They did that so that I would become an archmage instead of Ephraim becoming one too. It is my wish and destiny. Are you afraid I'll reach it?
No.
No, I was just unlucky. As she thought, her father begins to speak. Although you don't need to worry about that child, you need to be careful with Deason. He's not just anyone. He may seem like an ordinary person now, but he was once called a genius when he was younger. For all we know, he could reach great heights without anyone expecting it. I already knew that Professor Deason had noticed my trap that day. I undoubtedly made Ephraim's mana disappear. I set a trap so that when it came into contact with Ephraim's mana, it would cause an explosion. It would be a huge accident. She would get into even more trouble, but Deason noticed my plan immediately. Even though I checked if there were any traces of observation magic in the room, he still proposed an agreement to us. Instead of blaming me, I see. So that was a threat to which I had no choice but to accept. I thought he was nothing more than a stuck-up man with a slightly above-average talent. But what kind of man is he really? Sylvia thinks anxiously. A few days later, at the Decent mansion, here Ree is ready. I'll be down in a few seconds. We see a car leaving and Decent in the back seat thinking, I made the right choice in helping Efren. Thanks to that, I removed a death variable and earned store coins. I didn't expect the Luna who asked the question to be Efren, but she was quite hostile to Decent at that time. Of course, Sylvia may hold a grudge against me for what happened, but I had no choice but to put out the fire on my shoe. Leaving that aside, regarding the social effects, I preferred to avoid them. However, I can't pass up an opportunity to earn more store coins. Side mission. Participate in the Flower of the New Year event. Store coins plus 0.5. I need at least 5 coins to access the store, so I should check out the characters nominated in the event. Welcome, Professor Decent. We see a hall full of people. Everyone seems to be high-level nobles, and I'm seeing a lot of familiar named people, especially Yelm, whom I myself modeled. I made the right choice in coming here. A man with glasses notices Decent. Look who we have here, if it isn't Professor Decent. My son is taking his classes. His name is... Ah, Professor Decent, I always wanted to meet you, Professor. I take back what I said, he thinks. After starting to receive attention in the middle of the crowd, he hears something that catches his attention. Miss Gania Lee, about her achievements in the Continental newspaper. His eyes widen as he hears the person's name. The old man tries to continue talking to him. Professor, how about we try together? My family is... Ah, look there. Decent begins to walk away. I just heard someone say Gania just now. Meeting her, who will have an important mark in history, even among the adventurers, is the best thing I can do today, but where is she? I heard her name somewhere around here. As he searches, we see the woman behind his back. The adventurer Gania, the 5th most powerful character at the beginning of the story. So where is Gania? She's definitely around here. Ah, I found her, he thinks, looking up. That woman with red braids wearing adventurer clothes. I need to hurry and... Oh, so it's who I think it is. Professor S. Decent. Why now, Yelm? Yelm von Garian, rewind, exclusive Imperial Mage, Monarch, 4th highest rank. Oh, how impressive. The head of the... Okay, here's the translated text, adjusted for clarity and natural English flow. Teachers, Decent? Remember me? What an honor. It's been a while. How's your research going? It's still early, but I've heard some rumors about what you're talking about. Nothing much, just that your research hasn't made any progress in 3 years. There are those who doubt your abilities. He's just proving me right. This guy was Deculein's partner at the university. They were close, but after losing the head professor position to Decent, he became openly envious and resentful towards me. Maybe the original Deculein would get angry, but these provocations are meaningless to me. It's not like what he's saying is wrong, since the rumor's realm is referring to our true. Suddenly, he glances to the side and notices the young woman is gone. She's gone. Ganisa just disappeared. If you're arrogant and ignorant, no one will want to be like you. Even now. To think I lost her because I was talking to a scumbag like him. Hey Helm. Enough of that crap. Get out of my face. You moldy cheese turd. What? Cheese turd? What the? I need to find Ganisa quickly, before she leaves this social gathering and gets familiar with her. My plan will be ruined. Where is Professor Decent going? Professor Decent. Even when I got rid of these bastards still chase after me. That's why I don't like going to social gatherings. Arriving on a balcony, he overhears, Professor Decent? Ganisa. We meet here. I heard you were looking for me. To think that trying to escape those bastards, I'd run right into Ganisa. But more importantly, where is Gisa? Decent. Getting familiar? I simply got lost. He replies after a moment's thought. The young woman smiles and says, What a joke. I knew you were following me. It seems you have something to say to me. And sorry about that mission last time, but I returned the advance and the cancellation fee, so you can let it slide just this once. It seems they have a commission-based relationship. Forgive me for not being able to bring those talented magic children as you requested. No, it's not like I didn't bring them, right? I got attached, so I couldn't give them to you. He was wondering what she was talking about, but it seems Deculein was repeating something he'd been doing for a long time. He tries to compensate for his own inability by using talented children. Let me ask you something. How long are you going to keep living like this? How long? He reflects on the question. Before he possessed Decent's body, he accepted the sweet words of those who offered no help, destroyed the trust of those around him, and hurt many for his own fame. However, he will live differently now. He leans on the balcony and says, I didn't expect that answer. I thought you'd try to kill me since I accepted the mission that was secret and then fled. That's an excessive concern. He really tried to kill Ganesa, who is a high-class fighter. At that time, he was really ready to die. I don't know about the original Deculein, but Ganesa is capable of killing someone with just a flick of her hair. Her traits are invincible body and master of all martial arts. She is a fighter and adventurer who reached the peak of physical strength. Because I possessed Deculein, he probably couldn't send an assassin after Ganesa. If he had, she'd probably already be dead. This is a little different than I thought, but I've already accomplished my goal at this social gathering. Making connections. I have no reason to continue here. Thinking this, he says, I'm leaving now, so no need to worry unnecessarily. You're already leaving? Is it really okay? There won't be any assassination or death. Decent turns to her and says, That's classless. Walking away, he continues thinking, with the power of Deculein, as Ganesa said, I could use the Adventurers Guild to pressure her. However, doing so might cause unforeseen variables related to my death to arise. A new message appears. Villain's fate. Death variable avoided. Shop coin +1. What? Before it was overcome. Now it's avoided? I didn't recognize it, but that conversation earlier was also a death variable. I can't feel comfortable anywhere here. In another location, we see a little girl asking, Hey, how long are you going to stay here? The little girl is Riley, Julie's friend, a rookie adventurer, 12th highest rank. I didn't even want to come here in the first place. Oh, come on. Stop it. Let's go. I don't want to. How are things going with that person from before? What? Professor Decent? I was worried because of the rumors. Of course they aren't good. As soon as she replies, Dolan appears, saying, Hey, if you say that so loudly.
Defy.
The two stare at each other. Decent turns and continues down the stairs. Professor Decent is already leaving? The man who loves social events? He's leaving without even looking at the bride. Maybe it's because he doesn't have a good relationship with her. If that's the case, then the rumors from before must be true. How Deculein left the social event earlier than usual that day. Rumors arose that he did so because of a disagreement with Julie, but there was no way Kim Yujin knew this. Secondary mission complete. Attend New Year's flower event. Shop coin +0.5. Shop coins in possession. 4.5. A week has passed since attending the New Year's flower event. During that time, in addition to my daily memorization and basic telekinesis training, I felt my stamina was lacking, so I started working out. The reason is that I almost died after doing something crazy a few days ago. We see a glow in a room and Decent kneeling on the floor with blood in front of him. If I were a common mage, I would have died. I was able to withstand this because of the Iron Man trait. As he says this, we see a kind of rune on his hand. I desired more strength after meeting with Ganesa the other day, so I engraved fire control in addition to my already existing telekinesis, all to strengthen my metal manipulation. The purpose of this was to transfer the essence of the effect to telekinesis. This would make me stronger faster by shortening the time needed to learn magic. On the other hand, it's